I am officially bulletproofed. Yes, that's why my skin is glowing and I'm looking ripped and jacked. It's because every morning I take my mycotoxin-free bulletproof coffee and mix it up with MCT oil and grass-fed butter. Why, do you ask? Well, it does a lot of things. It replaces my meal for the morning, and it gets my brain all the right nutrients they need, those oils, that fat, and then I don't eat until 1 or 2 o'clock. So it's not really just coffee, it's turning into a lifestyle.
Now, talk to me about spoken word. I mean, every kid wants to be a rapper, and you see very few people doing spoken word, and it's a powerful method of communication. It's almost more powerful than just speaking. Like, can you explain it?
I think it's for me. It's hard for me to. I don't understand why it's a lot more powerful than speaking. I guess it's the metaphorical aspect and it's the entertainment aspect of it. Because as people, obviously, we need inspiration as well as information. I think when you use the metaphors and when you use the rhyme, that's inspiring. And then with the underlying message is always the information behind it. If that makes sense. In terms of everybody wants to be a rapper, but the thing is, there's so much negative connotations attached to rap that a lot of people distance, and like a lot of people don't like rap music for that instance. Like, even though me, when I listen to rap and spoken word, I see it exactly the same way. But a person who's not a fan of rap music because of the negative aspects of it or stuff like that wouldn't see it the same way. Whereas they'd be more responsive to spoken word because it doesn't come at you the same way, not the same as glamorized in the music videos or all that kind of, or glorified in that sense. So I feel the general public are more receptive to spoken word because of the medium. But personally, I feel like that and rap are so interlinked. I see both of them as the same.
I was watching your video today, and I was thinking if there was a fat beat on it, I would have paid attention to the music, and I would have missed some of the words you said.
You get distracted, yeah.
Yeah, and like if that's what I use, because you say some things that are powerful and some things rhyme, and I was just like, yeah, if that had been a song, I would have just heard the hook, and I would have seen you, but I think I would have missed the message unless I played it 20, 30, 40, 50 times.
That's exactly what it is, because with rap, it's a lot about. And one key difference to a lot of people don't know, with rap, it's about how you say it because it's music. You know what I mean? It's entertainment. With spoken word, it's about what you're saying, and that's the key thing that allows the message to translate. And that's the only way to differentiate between the two. But if you was actually a fan of rap, you'd be able to appreciate both of them in the same capacity. But I can understand how people who are not a fan of rap music and have different tastes can appreciate the spoken word more because it's just listening to what you're saying as opposed to trying to dance and all this other stuff attached to it.
Have you ruled out doing any kind of rapping or any kind of musical stuff?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, essentially, I do a little bit here and there. I mean, I've got a tape coming out. But me personally, I prefer the spoken word more. Hence why I do the spoken word stuff. It's just my general preference. But when I do enjoy it, when I do want to rap something, I do it from time to time. But what you'd find with my rap, which is a lot different from a lot of artists, is that it's very similar to my spoken word in terms of the subject matter and how I deliver it and how it comes across. So hopefully when I do have, it's just like a little EP essentially, that's what it's called, but that's the only way I could categorize it. When it does come out, you will maybe hear me a little bit, but that's not going to be the main focus on it. It's more about me communicating my spoken word to people.
Seems like stand-up comedy, like spoken word, like you got nowhere to hide. It's like you got no beat to hide behind. It's like
you gotta bring it.
You gotta bring it, and if you're not on that day.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of my influence actually came from comedians when I did start performing. If you ever, when I'm on the YouTube videos, there's not time to talk and etc. Get engaged with a crowd. But in front of a crowd, a lot of people has said that, oh, you do exhibit a lot of characteristics of a comedian, and that's because when I did start performing, I used to go to a lot of comedy cafes, and one of my mentors was actually a comedian. And I took a lot from there because I like the way they mix like the witty and the satirical with the humor at the same time. And it's essentially what you do with the spoken word. You're witty and satirical, but at the same time, there's always an underlying message. And with a lot of my favorite comedians, they always have a prevailing message over what they're saying, which is hidden behind the humor, which I think makes it even more funny and more artistic in that sense.
Yeah, they almost have like a political or satirical.
Yeah, some people, yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask. Do you consider yourself political?
I don't like to consider myself political. I like to say everything I do is just based on life experience. I don't have a particular political stance. My views is all in line with just the way I think it should be right to treat your fellow man, or how the fellow man should understand life. I don't like to meander into the lines of political and all that kind of stuff because I don't have a particular political view or political party.
But you're trying to make a change?
That's what I mean. A lot of people perceive that I try to make a change, which in a sense I do, but I never have. What I'm really trying to do is just tell my story. You know what I mean? If it does change somebody's life, I hope it does. But I don't want to put myself up there as a person who's trying to be an activist and trying to say that this should happen and that should happen, because I don't think anybody should tell anybody what to do. Each man will find their own path. But if I can be the person that just shows you the alternative, that's cool. But essentially, it's me. It's just very introspective. It's all just about me just telling my message and my story. And when a lot more of my work comes out at a later date, I think people will find that aspect, as opposed to thinking that I'm trying to change them, because I hate being perceived as a figure who's kind of like above people, telling them how what should be run. And that's how I see politicians, you know what I mean? I don't like being perceived as that at all. I'm just a regular guy, and I'd like people to appreciate that, who's just sharing his story.